for the fans, welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
High above the beautiful skyline of Denver, Colorado, it is time to cap off Week 10 of the Simulation Football League's 17th season. Two teams clinging to life with slim playoff chances still hanging in the balance tonight as the Denver Nightwings host the Fort Worth Toros at Richard L. Snowden Memorial Stadium. Hello and a very warm welcome. You've joined us live here on FTF Twitch for our second to last game of the weekend. My name is Michael Trurillo. Alongside me is Wade Phillips. Wade, this is a game which is going to be defined by two varying offensive styles.
Absolutely right, Michael. It's going to be the run game of Fort Worth, which is top 10 in the league in rushing, but then Denver has a pretty potent passing attack. But really, if Denver's key is to stop that Fort Worth rushing attack and make them try to beat them through the air, whereas Fort Worth has to really try to shut down the Denver passing attack.
Don't forget Bailey O'Shaughnessy, the final pick of this year's rookie draft, is a dangerous running back himself for the Nightwings. And the all-blue strip today, Fort Worth, and the all-gold blue numbers on the road. Wade, both of these teams have to win and get a lot of help to get into the playoffs, but it is still technically possible. What is the temperature like in those locker rooms right now as we get ready to get going?
They are just chomping at the bit to try to get a win here so that they can still have at least a puncher's chance at, keeping their playoff hopes alive. So these locker rooms are just absolutely raring to go and get started.
We are ready to go. Denver won the toss, chose to defer. It's game on at Richard Snowden Memorial Stadium. Matt Fennick kicks the ball away, fielded at the goal line, and a nice return out past the 25 to the 26-yard line. And that was where Fort Worth will have it. Cade Stevens was on that return. Here's the Toros offense. Cameron Curtis, the quarterback. Jason Williams, the standout running back. Aaron Alexander, the fullback. Cade Stevens at wide receiver, as well as Stephen Hacker. Robert Garrett Jr. at tight end, along with Lauren Burkoko. Johnny Van Man is on the offensive line. It's going to be a throw from Curtis. And he almost threw a pick, bouncing around in and out of the hands of the defender on first down, 2nd and 10, intended for Robert Garrett Jr. Here's the Denver Nightwings defense. Marlon Marshall, Hugo Reynosa, Des Troyer on the defensive line. Adam Wiseman and Jose Fuentes at linebacker. Nick Kindler, Rosca Santagria at corner. Josh Vasquez, Isaiah King, and Matt Papineau at safety. Here's the first run for Jason Williams. Williams, the standout performer on the Fort Worth offense this season, as they average 125 rushing yards per game, putting them in the top 5 of the SFL.
Absolutely, and Aaron Alexander plays a huge part in that because as a lead blocker, he is near the tops in the league. Not much of a receiving threat, but still dangerous on the ground.
3rd down and 7, across the middle, in and out of the hands of Robert Garrett Jr., and incomplete. It will be 4th down, and on to punt is Ray Einhorn, a sight that Fort Worth fans have seen far too much of this season.
Absolutely. They have seen the punter just come out way too often, and that was definitely a win by the Denver defense to get that stop on 3rd down, force the 4th down, and force the punt. So Denver definitely looking up and going to try to do some damage on offense.
And they have the weapons to do it. They're coming off an impressive win in Vice Wars against Las Vegas, 41-27 last week to get them their 3rd win of the season. Not much on the return for Riley Quintero as he takes it out to the 38-yard line, and that's where Denver will have the football. Here's the Denver Nightwings starting offense. Eric Price is the quarterback. Bailey O'Shaughnessy, the running back. R.E. Mills, the fullback. Bryce Battle, Riley Quintero, and Logan Keel, the wide receivers. Jeremy Mosley and Jim Copeland Jr. at tight end, and John Benazzi is the guard. Handoff, middle, O'Shaughnessy stutter step, dragged down from behind after a gain of 4. Here's the Fort Worth defense. Jeff Duffy, Gary Marks, Joey Schwint on the defensive line. David Horrell, J.L. Browning, and E.K. Vincent at linebacker. Adam Leach, Aiden Davis at corner. Blake Prine, Marquise Reed, and Delaney Nash at safety. Offset eye, single receiver out to the left on 2nd down and 6. Back to pass is Price, flaring it out to O'Shaughnessy, who has the ball jarred loose on a massive hit by Adam Leach, and it's 3rd down.
That time it was a great job by the defensive player to really force the incompletion. Bailey O'Shaughnessy had a clean, what looked to be a clean shot at the ball, but the defender got there in a hurry and forced the incompletion.
Trips to the right. Only 3 down linemen for Fort Worth. They only rush 3. Plenty of time still for Price to sit back there and deliver a strike to Quintero for a 1st down at midfield.
Riley Quintero did a great job just to find the sticks and get the 1st down. And now it looks like Denver is going to prolong this drive now at midfield. And really, if they can keep this up, they are going to have, a easier job today if they can start it off with a touchdown.
And it's going to be important for Denver. I'll finish this point after this flare out to O'Shaughnessy, trying to get the wheels going. And E.K. Vincent brought down O'Shaughnessy, but not after a gain of 6. It is going to be important for Denver to control the time of possession and keep their defense off the field, because with how much Fort Worth likes to run the ball, if they can get going, Denver's defense could be on the field a lot today. Here's 2nd and 4 after the good O'Shaughnessy run. He gets the ball again, a fantastic block, and still more blocks out in front of him, and again down the field past the 30, inside the red zone and all the way down to the 7-yard line before Bailey O'Shaughnessy is finally pulled down.
Michael, as far as stories go, Bailey O'Shaughnessy is the stuff of legends because, drafted the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, and then comes in and absolutely, what some would say dominates, others would say just does not skip a beat. 871 yards coming into this ball game, and then 91 receptions on the season. So that is absolutely just playing way better than anyone thought, but, coming in here and doing absolutely fantastic work.
And how about the guard, Benazi, all the way down the field? Actually almost stopped that run because O'Shaughnessy ran into him. Look out, Eric Price is going down this time. Pressure comes right up the middle, and it's a huge sack for Fort Worth.
That looked like Gary Marks right there getting the sack. And that, this defense of Fort Worth does a really incredible job of getting sacks. I mean, they, nearly the entire line, almost, over 5 sacks almost for the entire line. And they're just really tough to block.
2nd down and goal from the 13. Play action. Going deep is Price, and it's in and out of the hands of the fullback, R.E. Mills. And that's a trend that I've seen this season is teams like that play. Fake the handoff and then throw it over the middle of the fullback inside the red zone. And we've seen it work to varying degrees depending on which team is running the play.
Absolutely. It's you said it. I mean, the trends, you see that play, pop up in different teams using it, because it is working. And that time it just didn't get completed.
Fort Worth would love to hold Denver to a field goal attempt here. Here's 3rd and goal. Price, time to throw. Flag flies. It's complete over the middle to Quintero, but only for a couple of yards, and we'll have to check the penalty marker. Might be holding, I'm not sure. Yeah,
same here. That looks like maybe the area of holding.
It is indeed holding. So Denver will back up. They're going to get Jack Slayer, the tackle, for the hold. And it will be 3rd down once again, but this time back him up to the 23-yard line.
Michael, we had said that really Denver needs to kind of
wait a minute.
Work with the clock. Oh, there.
They declined the defensive holding.
Interesting.
But I don't think it was defensive holding because there's not a 68 on the Fort Worth lineup. Either way, the kick from Matt Fennick is up and good. Denver takes a 3-0 lead. So Fort Worth must have declined the penalty and forced fourth down. And that's not a terrible call here early in the game.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and that was a 25-yard surprise field goal after the 37-yard rush of O'Shaughnessy sets that up. But yeah, just an odd series of events right there.
Kick on the way, returned by Cade Stevens. And Stevens will get out to the 28-yard line, so 2 yards better than his previous return. Let's see if Fort Worth can get something going on offense. Only a couple of yards at a 3-and-out on their opening possession. And I mentioned it when Denver had the ball. Fort Worth is going to have to rely on Jason Williams and Aaron Alexander to control the clock here.
Yes, they are, because they do not want to leave Denver much time at all to be able to work with.
Well, they've got 3 in the backfield, 2 fullbacks, and they're going to run behind those 2 fullbacks with Williams, and he's going to get 9 off the right-hand side. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Fort Worth a yard away from their first move of the chains of the ball game. Williams trying to get there, and he will by falling forward through the tackle of Isaiah King, and it's a first down for the Toros.
And that's just more of what Fort Worth needs, is just to rely on the rushing game, and that time the offensive line and the blockers got enough push to pick up the first down, so Fort Worth still driving.
Free play for the Toros, going to swing it out to Aaron Alexander, and Alexander will only get 2, so I believe they will accept this penalty.
I tend to agree with you right there, partner. I'm with you.
Neutral zone infraction, number 56. Deep 5-yard penalty.
So it will be David Horrell, the former number 1 overall pick of the Fort Worth Toros a couple of seasons ago. It jumped off sides. Oh, no, excuse me. Check that. The Marlon Marshall jumped off sides, for the Denver Nightwing. So here we go. First down and 5 for Fort Worth. Just a single receiver each side. Curtis under center going to take a short drop, chuck it over the middle. That pass is complete to Robert Garrett Jr. When they do decide to throw the ball, Fort Worth, Robert Garrett Jr. is usually the place they're going.
Absolutely. He has 46 receptions up to this point and 573 yards, and he really can just stretch the field and pick up first downs like it's nothing. And really, Robert Garrett Jr. is a great blocker and a receiver.
And off middle. Not a lot there for Jason Williams. And really, the pressure is on the linebackers for this Denver team, Adam Wiseman and Jose Fuentes, to stop Williams from getting to the second level.
You're absolutely right, because the line, they have to hold their responsibility, but then the linebackers, it's their responsibility to fill those gaps and not let the running backs hit those holes with a full head of steam.
Short gain on first down. Here's second down. I formation just past the 50-yard line. It's going to be Williams again. Crunched down. Gain of only 2 up to the 45-yard line. And another nice tackle by Isaiah King. So he is obviously the spy on Jason Williams early on.
Yeah, the rookie getting, a useful matchup and really doing a great job this season. 31 tackles, 7 pass deflections, and 4 interceptions on the season.
Third down and 6, and Robert Garrett Jr. hit hard after he makes the catch. Penalty flag flies, second one of the ball game. We'll check the penalty. If it's defensive, then it's another Fort Worth first down.
Pass interference, number 53.
And they're going to get defensive pass interference. So it would have been a first down anyway for Robert Garrett Jr. Fort Worth moves the chains. And we were talking pregame, Wade. If Fort Worth wanted to win this game or at least be in contention down the stretch, they needed to have drives like this. Run, short pass, run, short pass. It's what they've been doing all season.
You're right, because it's been effective when they've been able to pull it off the right way. And so far, they've been able to, on this drive, to do it.
Tack on the penalty yards, now down to the 36-yard line. Throw to the far side, complete to Stephen Hacker. First time we've called the Hackman's name today as he drags defenders out of bounds for a gain of 7.
On that play, it was the short pass version of the strategy, and they got the out route, and then he picked up a few extra yards after contact and just kind of dragging a few defenders, and that's exactly what they need to complete this, style of offense that they want, and that's exactly what they need to get a victory.
Hacker, the leading receiver on this team, coming into the game, 596 yards and 11.5 yards per carry, and that time Jason Williams got wrapped up and dropped behind the line. Beautiful job by Adam Wiseman to crash through the gap and make 3rd down and 3.
It was a great play by Adam Wiseman. He's made a few plays today already, and he had the penalty, and that time making up for it and showing his defense that he can be counted on pretty much every time.
Well, they dial up on 3rd and 3. It's going to be a Curtis pass to Williams on the outside, and a beautiful tackle to prevent Williams from turning the edge. Brings up 4th down and 1. Nick Kindler wrapped him up and pulled him down.
That's really what Denver's defense needed, kind of a bend-don't-break approach, and Fort Worth now looks to be like they're going to go for it.
Well, at least they're showing that they're going to go for it. It may just try. Oh, they got the jump. It's going to be a 1st down for Fort Worth, and I think Aaron Alexander might have picked it up anyway. That is what you cannot do if you're Denver. So now 2 penalties levied against the Denver Nightwings on this drive have extended the Fort Worth drive deep into Nightwing territory.
Devastating. Marlon Marshall, I believe that's his 2nd offsides of maybe not the drive, but definitely of the game. And really, that's absolutely just one of those mistakes that you can't have if you want to try to, hold on for dear life.
You are correct. I was forgetting about the first Marshall jump, so I guess that's 3 penalties that have extended the Fort Worth drive. Now scraping the edge of the red zone to the 22. Quick out to the far side, and that pass is complete. Stephen Hacker picks up his 2nd catch, and Fort Worth are at least in position to tie this game as the first quarter has gone pretty quick here and almost 2 minutes to go in it.
Wow, it has, partner. Just look up and it's 2 minutes left, but really Fort Worth on this drive has been fairly methodical and taken any, hits they'll take.
Williams once again nowhere to go. Hugo Reynosa was there to make the tackle. And I think Fort Worth games are very quick because they run the ball so much. The clock runs a lot of the first half and maybe into the second half as well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they run a lot and just the short passes that, don't necessarily always get out of bounds. So, yeah, like you said, just really just goes fast.
Loss of 2 on the play. Back to a 3rd and 8. Again, they'll try to set up the screen to Williams. A lot of work to do for Williams, and he almost did so. Came up 2 yards short. Jose Fuentes pushed him out.
And, yeah, it looks like Taco Sicario's going to come out, the legend. 5'8", 260, a chunk. And now Fort Worth going to do their best to try to tack on 3 points.
Sicario, 22 of 26. A field goal percentage of 84.6. And he's going to have exactly a 30-yarder to try and tie this one up with about a minute to go. High snap corralled well and up and good. So Fort Worth ties the game at 3 with 1:07 to go in the first quarter.
That makes it 23 of 27 on the season for Taco Sicario. So really improving even more his completion percentage.
Fort Worth ties the game, an impressive drive, but aided by 3 Denver penalties, a pass interference, and 2 offsides calls. And that is something that the coaching staff in Denver will want to see less of as the game goes on. Jeremy Vega, Kramer Jackman, and Adam Wiseman there on the Denver sideline. First kickoff returned by Denver today. They'll start at their own 25-yard line after the returned by Quintero.
Now it's Denver's turn. Like we had mentioned earlier on in the ballgame, they have to try to, burn the clock and keep their defense off the field because Fort Worth can just has the ability to just run them ragged.
Split back single receiver. Plenty in the box for Fort Worth on this first down play. Blaley O'Shaughnessy going to try and run right through it, but there's just nowhere to go. Only a pickup of one and a big hit by the veteran Marquise Reed.
Looked like multiple gold jerseys just enveloped the ball carrier right there. Bailey O'Shaughnessy had really nowhere to run, and they stopped him, for a 1-yard gain. And Denver, needs more than that.
2nd down and 9. Price takes the bell tie snap. Out to O'Shaughnessy's, and O'Shaughnessy's going backwards again. The Fort Worth defense, now emboldened by their offensive success, has gotten 2 straight big stops, and it's 3rd and 12. How about a linebacker connection on that tackle? J.L. Browning and E.K. Vincent.
Yeah, tag team. 6'3" David Horrell, 6'2" J.L. Browning, E.K. Vincent, 6 foot. The linebacker core is very stingy.
Play action, middle to Quintero. That's an excellent play for 3rd and 11, but it was 3rd and 12, and Denver's going to come up 1 yard short, and it's going to be 4th down.
An absolutely outstanding play by Fort Worth's defense to get that stop and limit them to a now 4th down, and they're outside of 4 down territory. So you would really think that they were going to
End of the quarter. Yeah, shocked all of us. It was a very fast first quarter. It's Denver and Fort Worth tied at 3. Playoff hopes on the line for the Mile High City. Stay with us. From Richard L. Snowden Memorial Stadium in Denver, Colorado, the Denver Nightwings and the Fort Worth Toros doing battle here on a Sunday afternoon. My name is Michael Trillo. Wade Phillips is alongside me. Declan O'Rourke is on stats. Cameron Irvine is our producer. First punt of the day out from Matty Wiseman, and a nice return up past the 40 to the 42-yard line by Cade Stevens. And Fort Worth, they have the momentum here on the road.
That pretty solid punt puts Fort Worth in, pretty decent field position to start this drive, and, might actually be their best position of the day.
To start, it is indeed. Let's see what they do with it. Strong side left, I formation, 2 receivers. They're going to go up the middle with Williams, this time finding some running room, and that is where Jason Williams can do some damage. Denver lucky to hold him to just 5, because oftentimes you see him put his left foot in the ground and cut to the right, and he's just gone.
Partner, the addition of not only Aaron Alexander, but also Johnny Van Man has really helped this Fort Worth Toros offense because their running game has hit that next level with the addition of those 2 players.
This time they spread it out with 3 receivers. Bell-tie snaps it. Curtis fires it over nicely for a back shoulder catch by Stephen Hacker, pushed out after a gain of 4, 3rd down and 1.
What do you think play call right here on midfield, 3rd and 1? You think they just hand it off and try to, just beat them man-to-man on that in the trenches?
I would like to see them power eye, just try and ram it down the throat. That's what they're going to do. Full house in the backfield. Williams with plenty of blockers in front of him, slips through a tackle and gets into Denver territory, picking up a 1st down along the way.
And this is definitely not what Denver needs, is really for their defense to be on the field for an extended period, because like we've said, Fort Worth can really run a defense ragged, and where, defenders are trying to catch their breaths while, Fort Worth is just, short run, 7-yard run, and then it just steamrolls into, a bigger and bigger nightmare.
I really love the blocking schemes that Fort Worth pulls out on those heavy sets. This time throw over the middle. Robert Garrett Jr. was wide open as a linebacker jumped the route and is able to peel off for 13 yards and another Fort Worth 1st down.
It's a great catch by Robert Garrett Jr. to make that 1st down. Caught it, and it looked like might have been short initially, but, gets right, Cameron Curtis puts that ball right where only it looked like Robert Garrett Jr. could catch it. Luckily, he caught it and then picked up the first down. So now they're very methodical in, sticking to their game plan. And like you said, the blocking scheme has been phenomenal.
On that last play, Jose Fuentes missed a tackle because he went for a deflection on the pass. Another one over the middle to Robert Garrett Jr. for 12. It's the Robert Garrett Jr. show, and Fort Worth is in the red zone.
Hashtag throw it to the tight end, and they are definitely doing that early and often. And really, that's just another element for Fort Worth because they've got, the fullback, they've got the two tight ends that they love putting out there, which is just great for their blocking scheme, and it's very effective.
Well, we know our broadcast director, Mike Daggs, loves that hashtag, and they're throwing it to the tight end again, this time for 8. Fort Worth has found something that the Denver defense can't stop.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Robert Garrett Jr., 6'7", 268, and then Lauren Percoco, 6'7", 260. They have two giant targets over there in tight end, so really it's a hard matchup.
Inside the 10 now, from the 7-yard line. Look out, here goes Jason Williams fighting towards the goal line. Going to be half a yard short, but it's going to be first and goal.
Great push up front by the offensive line, and all the blockers in unison got blocks. Unfortunately, they just couldn't quite get over the hill and get that touchdown. But hey, they've got a few more attempts, that you would think possibly 4-down territory if they want.
I don't like the formation here for Fort Worth. It looks like they're going to be just a strong side left handoff with only 2 blockers, but they got 2 tight ends out there. And, defense almost got there, but the power of Jason Williams means it's a Fort Worth touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like Fort Worth got in there and just Jason Williams just blew through the backup right there. The linebacker couldn't get the tackle and wrap him up, and Jason Williams gets in there and pounds it in for a touchdown. And now Fort Worth up in front, and Denver has to respond with the touchdown of their own.
There was a defender in the hole that had a chance to stop Williams on the 1-yard line, but Jason Williams had too much power, too much momentum, and drove the defender back into the end zone. Extra point from Sicario up and good. Fort Worth takes a 10-3 lead.
So how about that, partner? Now Fort Worth with their playoff lives on the line, both these squads' playoff lives on the line, we are going to see some guaranteed fight in both these squads. That they're going to give their best efforts.
And it's looking through the first quarter and a half right now, Wade, like this is the best version of the Fort Worth offense we've seen so far this season. Because in their 3 wins, what they've done well is what they've done well today. Throw it to the tight ends and wide receivers across the middle and just pound the rock. And if you put as many people in the box as Fort Worth likes to do, there's not a lot of defenses that are going to be able to stop you.
Yeah, especially with like we've said, their blocking scheme's on point. And so Fort Worth can really use all these matchup nightmares, and really, if they can keep the defense off balance, you don't know what they're going to do.
Let's see how Denver responds on offense. Eric Price and company have had a long time to sit on the sidelines and think about it. There's Bailey O'Shaughnessy straight up the gut on a dive for 4.
Definitely 4 yards gets it done almost every time, and really averaging 8.2 yards per carry, Bailey O'Shaughnessy, and just absolutely spectacular. But really, Denver needs to be able to kind of grind the clock out a little more, because we know Fort Worth is going to do it, so Denver needs to.
Price, plenty of time, finds a wide open receiver down the seam, and a big first down for Denver. That's the fullback, R.E. Mills.
R.E. Mills gets the 3rd season pro, 6'3", 230, normally a lead blocker, but that time got the reception, has 22 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown, but really dual threat kind of, and they love, pounding up the gut with him as a lead blocker, and that time the reception.
And that's the exact same play that Denver missed inside the red zone earlier when Mills could have had a touchdown catch. This time, Price goes underneath Jeremy Mosley. Says Mr. Robert Garrett Jr., you're not the only tight end that can make an impact in this game. First down, Denver.
Absolutely. They do throw it to the tight end a lot as well. 42 receptions up until this ball game. And, both these teams, like you said, thrown to the tight end. And really, tight ends, these new era tight ends where, they're just about just giant receivers out there.
Yeah, they've got great hands, and they work with the receivers almost as much as they do the offensive line nowadays. Flip out to O'Shaughnessy, did well to break the first tackle, could not get away from E.K. Vincent, only a gain of 3. And something that has impressed me through the first half with this Fort Worth team is their linebackers.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing a great job filling the gaps and getting stops that when the defensive line, fills their assignments, but then the linebackers are doing a great job of closing these gaps.
This is again O'Shaughnessy on a stretch play, past the 30, falling forward for a first down. And that's what happens when you try to get those linebackers moving side to side. They miss a block, and Bailey O'Shaughnessy has the speed.
And yeah, Bailey O'Shaughnessy is definitely one of those threats in the receiving game. I mean, like we said, 90 up till this game, 91 receptions, which is good for second in the league. So Bailey O'Shaughnessy can hurt you any way you let him.
Denver looking like the old Carolina team. Hashtag Swing City with Johnny English back in the day. That's a little bit of a throwback reference. I formation now on 1st and 10. Denver quickly inside the 30. It's going to be O'Shaughnessy again, this time with a lot of work to do. Wrapped up and dropped. Only a gain of 1. Aiden Davis on the step for Fort Worth.
Yeah, not only the linebackers for Fort Worth, but the defensive backs are doing a great job of, getting those one-on-one tackles where normally, it's almost a mismatch for a defensive back to try to one-on-one tackle a really dangerous receiver.
2nd down and 9. Let's see if Denver goes to the air here. They will, but they're only going to throw it to O'Shaughnessy again, who's stopped up and dropped. That's the second straight weak side toss to O'Shaughnessy, and the Fort Worth defense have been all over it.
Yes, it's almost like they've been game planning for situations just like that and plays exactly like that. And that time, another example of them getting the stop, and just another great job by the linebacking crew to get out there and get that stop.
Denver's had success on this drive when they've gone down the field. They're going to have to now on 3rd and 8. Got to get a first down inside the 20. Play action. Price pumps once, then goes short to O'Shaughnessy, and it's Bailey O'Shaughnessy just getting roughed up all over the place for this drive. 4th down and 6. Went to O'Shaughnessy 3 straight plays on that set of downs. Only got 4 yards out of it.
They did, and it almost looked to me like they might have had a receiver or two open downfield, but I didn't get a great look at it. But, they went to the check down, went to O'Shaughnessy, and just couldn't quite get the first down.
Denver to pull to within 4. This will be a 42-yarder for Fennec. It's up. It's good. Denver now trails 10-6, but you can't be trading touchdowns for field goals. That's an excellent stand by the Fort Worth defense after Denver, in the blink of an eye, pretty much flipped the field from their starting field position.
Absolutely. They had a huge just drive that just ate up almost, 4 minutes off the clock, and that's exactly what they needed to get their defense off the field, give them a breather. Now they get a fresh look at the Fort Worth offense and try to get a stop and not let Fort Worth just run all the way up the field on them.
Stevens trying to cut back to the other side, only gets to the 26. And maybe we haven't sung enough praises of the Fort Worth defensive unit as a whole. They've forced Denver to take 2 field goals from potential touchdown positions in this first half.
Yes, because, on the last drive, Denver had the multiple, penalties that extended the drive for Fort Worth. And it was 34 straight receiving yards for Garrett Jr. that really prolonged that drive.
Let's see if they go back to Garrett Jr. They will not. That is Cade Stevens. And Stevens gets 8 yards, tackled by Jose Fuentes, the former Sioux Falls Sparrow. Went to 2 straight title games with Sioux Falls.
That time, Cameron Curtis went, spread the love around and went to Cade Stevens. So really, if they don't let the defense key on one player, specifically Robert Garrett Jr., where he was doing the damage last drive, they can spread it out, they're going to be even more dangerous.
Hand off Williams, back to the Toros, bread and butter, fighting for the first down, gonna be just short. Combination of Adam Wiseman and Jose Fuentes brought him down.
It was a really, really, really close play that I thought could have, gone either way, the first down or the 3rd and inches, but they'll give him the 3rd and inches.
Yeah. This time it's going to be an extended handoff. Williams gets a first down, then gets driven backwards by Josh Vasquez, but the clock continues to run. We're about to hit the 2-minute warning. Fort Worth doesn't have to snap the ball again, and we hit the break.
Yeah, my goodness, partner, it has just flown by like I remember my childhood did. My goodness.
Once again, Fort Worth doesn't have to snap it. They will to Williams. Gets an excellent block and gets free, using his speed to get into Denver territory to the 42-yard line. And that will bring us to the 2-minute warning of the second quarter. Fort Worth way on top of Denver, courtesy of runs just like this.
Absolutely. It's, been multiple runs just like that have, extended drives for them and really burnt this clock down, and Fort Worth really looking like they're on a mission to run all over Denver.
Fort Worth, Toros on parade in the Mile High City right now. They lead 10-6 and they're with the football. The last 2 minutes of the first half are coming up. This is the Simulation Football League presented by 8 p.m. Music on FTF. They'll spread about 3 wide. First play inside the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Curtis hands to Williams. Excellent spin move and gets down to the 37-yard line. Pick up a 5. A little bit of afters after the play between the linemen.
Yeah, just a little chippiness, and really this, blocking scheme and just the blockers in general for Fort Worth have been doing a great job. Whether it's the tight ends, the line, the fullback, or the wide receivers, everybody is working and springing blocks for the running back.
It's going to be another Williams run, and this time he's going to lose a yard. The offensive line could not hold the blue wave. That was basically the entire Denver defensive line. Des Troyer led the charge.
Yes, sir. That time, Denver's defense just won up front. They got back there and got that stop for no damage done.
Curtis gonna throw on 3rd and 6. Backwards pass means it's a fumble. Jason Williams falls on it. But it's gonna be 4th down and 13, and I think that might have knocked Fort Worth out of field goal range.
Oh, interesting.
This is a big review.
It is, and when Denver had a chance to pick up that ball, I thought if that defensive player picks it up, he's off to the races. But yeah, it looks like it might. It's a close one.
And that's not a great angle for us to make a decision. And the Toros are going to win the review, so it was an incomplete pass. It will still be 4th down, but it will be 4th down and 6, not 4th down and 13 at the 38-yard line.
Absolutely saves them 7 yards right there.
Yeah, and that probably put him back into field goal range, because this will be a 54-yard attempt from Sicario. To extend the Toros' lead, the kick is short. Sicario can't hit from 54, and Denver gets the ball back a minute to go and a chance to potentially take the lead before halftime.
Oh, so agonizingly close. Just, what it looked like 3-4 yards that he needed to make that, which when you're kicking a 54, 55-yarder, that's no joke.
Let's see what Denver decides to dial up here. They're in the I formation. Price to O'Shaughnessy, slips a tackle to the backfield and scampers up the sideline for 11. Now a first down inside Denver territory.
And remember, they have 3 timeouts left, so.
They're going to get to O'Shaughnessy again, and this time a loss of 2 on the play. It was going to O'Shaughnessy all the way. The defense read it well. First timeout taken by Denver. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. R.E. Mills, the fullback, in a ton of space and picks up a first down, gets out of bounds to stop the clock at the 35.
That time, it was all the space to work with. Caught it and had daylight in front. Took off and was able to pick up the first down just by the tip of his nose. And now Denver keeps on moving and got the clock stopped on that play.
Everybody expects the swing to O'Shaughnessy. Nobody expects the fullback slipping out of the backfield and being in about 30 acres of space on the right-hand side, picking up the first down. Denver now knocking on the door of field goal range here. Price going to take a shot down the seam, and it's caught. That was an absolute dart from Eric Price. Beautifully on time to Logan Keel.
You said it. The rookie, second-round pick, threw an absolute laser right there. Boom. Threw him open, and they were able to pick up the extra yards after the catch, and that's exactly what they needed. And now they are in, pretty good field position to be able to do, some substantial damage right here.
One timeout, 29 seconds. You can maybe afford to take a couple of shots deep before settling for a field goal here. What you can't do is be down inside the boundaries. And they're going to go over the middle. That's Bryce Battle makes the catch for the first time today. They have a timeout. They're inside the 6. What are they going to do here? They're going to snap the ball quickly. 16 seconds to go. Bailey O'Shaughnessy bobbles the ball, and it's incomplete. He had a touchdown wide open, and it's 2nd and goal.
Oh, the heartbreaker. Bailey O'Shaughnessy has that. Could have just walked into the end zone, but, just might have looked upfield before he caught it, and that time just drops it. Now Denver, clock does stop. There's that, but Denver has to come up with something that gets him 6 yards.
That might be the only saving grace. They're going to, oh my goodness. They're going to go for the kick with 14 seconds left and one timeout. I don't agree with this. You have a chance to take a shot at the end zone.
Yeah, this is a bit rough right here.
The 22-yard field goal is up and good. It's a 1-point game, but Denver just squanders a chance to take the lead before the half. 11 seconds left. Fort Worth will have the return and maybe one play.
Man, partner, that's one of those that they kind of might want back, where they can maybe take at least one shot at the end zone. But hey, they went conservative and they at least got the points, and now they're only down by 1.
Stevens running left, can't get away. It's going to be 5 seconds left in the half. The SFL 17th postseason gets underway on Next Level Sports and For the Fans October 16th and October 17th with wildcard round matchups. For the newest SFL participants, the SFL's minor league kicks off its 4th season Friday, October 15th. The SFL's YouTube channel is home to all minor league action at youtube.com/simulationfl. Handoff up the middle, Jason Williams tackled, and we will go to the half. Get to the field and into the action. Visit simulationfl.net to create a player today. It is a 1-point game at the break. A defensive rushing style contest. Old-fashioned smash mouth football. What did you make of that first half, Wade?
Absolutely. Fort Worth stuck to their game plan, and so far it has worked out. Denver, on the other hand, done some things. They're fairly consistent on their completions. Eric Price is, but really they haven't gotten much going on in the run game. They've gotten some big plays by Bailey O'Shaughnessy, but way more receptions. But really, Fort Worth has been able to string long drives together, off the back of Jason Williams, and really Robert Garrett Jr. also coming up huge with 5 big receptions on one drive in particular that got pay dirt on that drive.
The key for me has been 3 red zone trips for Denver and 3 field goals.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't expect to win a ball game when every time you get to the red zone, you can't hit pay dirt. You have to settle for field goals because, I mean, that's 3, some teams would consider wasted opportunities, especially when, Fort Worth is able to find pay dirt and gets them ahead by 1.
And it's not that Denver has been unable to move the ball, it's just that their normal modus operandi, which is swing pass to Bailey O'Shaughnessy and then quick outs to supplement that, has mostly been shut down, and Eric Price has had to make tough throws to keep the chains moving.
Indeed. And again, they had that one pass to Bailey O'Shaughnessy that we thought he might be able to just kind of saunter into the end zone, but unfortunately they dropped it. And then we have to mention that Fort Worth drive where there were, 3 or 4 penalties that prolonged that drive and ended up, getting them pay dirt.
Something that the head coach for the high school that I call games for says to me all the time in our interviews is we can't beat ourselves, and Denver right now is beating themselves, but they've got an entire half to turn it around, and they'll start at their own 24 in the second half. If you're just joining us, thank you for tuning in to the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on FTF. My name is Michael Turillo. Wade Phillips is alongside me. Declan O'Rourke is on stats. Cameron Irvine is our producer as we start the second half of action here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Denver, Colorado. Just 2 weeks left of the season. This is the last game of the week, so only one left of the season, and that's the interception right off the first play from scrimmage in the second half. Denver tried to catch the Fort Worth defense napping, and it was not to be. Adam Leach with the huge interception.
That's exactly what Fort Worth needed on this, first drive of the second half. They get the interception, first turnover, I believe, of the ball game, and that was, Eric Price's first turnover of the day. And really, Denver did not want that on offense because they, already down 1 score, and they need absolutely flawless football, and they can't have turnovers.
24th interception of the season thrown by Eric Price. Handoff middle, Williams going nowhere. They say he got back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's where Des Troyer met him face to face. That was the 4th interception of the season for Adam Leach, tying him with Aiden Davis for the team lead in takeaways.
Yeah, and they'll need a lot more of that today.
Just a toss out to the fullback, Alexander, going backwards. It looks like the Denver Nightwings defense was fired up by that interception.
They were, because they were right there waiting for that play, it seemed. The pass was caught, and then immediately you saw blue jerseys just, envelop the receiver and brought him down for
almost
loss.
Looked like a bit of a broken play there at the back end. 3rd down and 12, and Cameron Curtis almost gave it right back. The receiver down the field is asking for a flag. There won't be one. Nice coverage by Josh Vasquez, and so the interception thrown by Price doesn't really come back to hurt Fort Worth if they're going to go 3 and out.
Yeah, it was almost tit for tat right there for the defenses getting the payback interception by Josh Vasquez. Unfortunately, dropped it.
Ray Einhorn is going to try and pin the Nightwings deep. They'll have plenty of time to get the punt away. It's angling towards the left-hand side of the end zone. It's going to hop and skip and jump and be down at the 7-yard line. Excellent punt. Denver in the shadow of their own end zone to start their second drive of the half.
That was a splendid punt by Einhorn right there. They needed that because it pins them on the 7, and now Fort Worth's defense gets another shot to try to, hey, if they can force a turnover, takeaway right here, and maybe even, get a pick 6, maybe even greater. But Denver really wants to come up with something and change what they did on that first drive and, get a different result.
I think you have to be conservative here if you're Denver after what happened on the last play. They are going to run it with O'Shaughnessy. Spin move, dragging defenders and picking up 9 yards.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because especially when Bailey O'Shaughnessy is averaging 8.3 yards per carry. So, I mean, why not? I mean, he's been so effective today. Why not just lean on him a little more, try to see if he can, maybe run you to victory?
This time it's R.E. Mills, the fullback showing off the wheels. Excellent blocking up front by Benazzi and company, and R.E. Mills scampers forward for a huge first down.
You said it, Michael. That was fantastic blocking, because that was the fullback taking off right there. So normally the lead blocker gets the call, gets his number called, and takes off for a pretty nice little scamper.
The defensive line for Fort Worth parted like the Red Sea. And R.E. Mills had plenty of room to work with, as after only 2 plays, Denver's out to their own 27, 20 yards on 2 carries. One by O'Shaughnessy, one by Mills. Here is Price to throw, goes conservative underneath. Pass is caught by Jim Copeland Jr., the rookie, and it'll be 2nd down and 5.
That was Copeland Jr.'s first reception of the day, and so that makes 2 receptions to these tight ends of Denver and makes it around 20 yards. And so, they were definitely probably wanting a little more production out of them, but hey, never too late to get some catches.
O'Shaughnessy dragged down from behind. He almost had space, but Joey Schwint was not to be denied. How about a 6'4", 306 defensive tackle chasing down O'Shaughnessy in the backfield?
Showing fleet of foot right there. You said it. A big old boy, and got that tackle on the very fast running back.
Third quarter going swiftly. Under 8 minutes to go in it. Price under center. Gonna throw for it, and coming up 3 yards short is Logan Keel. It seems like Denver doesn't really have a good play in the playbook for these third and medium situations, because they've gone to that out route for about 5 a couple of times, and I don't think they have a first down on it yet.
Yeah, you said it. They just don't have that one play that they can kind of lean on that gets them, a first down when they need it. Because that one, they've tried it a few times, like you said, and it's gotten them 5. But, in those situations, it hasn't quite gotten them to the first down marker.
So for all the excellent work done by Mills, O'Shaughnessy, in the offensive line, when Price drops back to throw, Denver can't get much out of it, and it's a punt for the Nightwings. Fort Worth takes over at their own 32.
Fort Worth gets just another chance to try to do some damage. They've been fairly effective today, but that last drive just couldn't quite get it across.
Plenty of time over the middle. Robert Garrett Jr. He is like a black hole for footballs. Anything thrown his direction, he just sucks it up. And he's got an 8-yard completion.
Yes, nothing escapes his grasp. And so far, it's been that has been his modus operandi. 6 receptions around, 55, 60 yards, and he's been doing a great job.
Williams close to a first down, not getting it. Visit the SFL's YouTube channel at youtube.com/SimulationFL for an archive of every game, every draft, every moment you might have missed since the SFL got its start in 2013. SFL YouTube features top 10 plays of the week, archive people behind the players segments, and all the major milestones in league history. 3rd down and inches, and another offsides jump from Denver. That is their 4th on the game.
Absolutely not what they wanted right there, because that's, like you said, the 4th time they've done it, and that's just another free play.
Number 90, defense.
And I think every time it's been in a less than 5 situation, and it's gifted Fort Worth a first down. That time they're going to tag Hugo Reynosa, the former Lone Star Glory player, for the infraction.
Yeah, they're just a little too jumpy down there and a little too excited to beat him off the block, but that time just way too quick.
Curtis now with a shotgun. Pumps once, flings it down the sideline. It's caught at the 30-yard line. Excellent back shoulder throw, and Cade Stevens hauls in the basket catch.
what a great catch for, pretty big yards right there. In Fort Worth, you don't see that very often. And that time, they kind of lulled Denver into a false sense of security. And then they got Cade Stevens out there, getting behind the defense and were able to burn him a little bit.
Fort Worth driving now inside the 30, looking to extend their 1-point advantage. Shoulder high snap for Curtis. Sidearm throw complete to the 20. And it's Robert Garrett Jr. again scrambling out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
I'll say it again. Hashtag throw it to the tight end. And they did right there. Robert Garrett Jr., another catch. And he's around the 69, 70 mark. And he's really been a very reliable target. Everything that gets in his vicinity, he is snagging.
Cameron Curtis has arrived at the football game. It is no longer just the Jason Williams show. That's a bad snap, but he corrals it and floats it for Stephen Hacker out of bounds, incomplete.
That was a close one because I thought, at least a chance that he got a foot down, but looks like they might have let him just a little bit too far out and made him go out of bounds.
Let's see if they continue throwing it with Cameron Curtis. He's been the hot hand right now. Curtis, middle, incomplete. That time knocked out of the hands of Robert Garrett Jr. by Isaiah King.
And really, they have seen something in a mismatch that they've had in Robert Garrett Jr.'s all day, and they've been trying to take advantage of it. That time, it was one of the rare times that it was incomplete. 77, around 80% reception completion percentage to Robert Garrett Jr. today.
3rd and 10. Denver defense looking for a big stop, forcing Curtis to scramble, and he goes down. And they're going to force another attempt from Taco Sicario, 1 of 2 today. Missed a 54-yarder right at the end of the first half.
And that time, Denver did exactly what they needed to at least try to force this field goal try instead of the touchdown. But now they have to at least don't jump across the line.
Sicario swings the right foot through it and hits from 34. And Fort Worth goes up by 4. Toros 13, Nightwings 9. It's been a slow burn, and for it only being a 4-point lead, Fort Worth feels like they're in control, but then again, this is the SFL. Anything can change at the drop of a hat.
You said it. I mean, we've seen some wild finishes because really, you said it, anything can happen, and it does.
Sicario kicks off. Quintero back deep to receive inside his own end zone. He'll take it out past the 20, and not past the 20, right at the 20. Big shoulder down by Lawrence Baylor, and that's where the Nightwings will have the football. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica team jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. O'Shaughnessy, spin move, hauled down, gain of 3. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6, 97 Sports Promotions, and the SFL. And I think Bailey O'Shaughnessy's going to have to get, it's tough to say just get better, because he's been good, but he hasn't broken a big run since the first quarter.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, he's been, getting a few yards here and there, but really just needs one play that he just breaks a tackle and gets a huge gain.
Oh, play action. Price air mails it, and it was deflected and incomplete by Marquise Reed.
And that could have been a nightmare again for Denver. Maybe another turnover, but again, it was luckily harmlessly incomplete. And whereas Fort Worth would have been looking at, a first down in prime position.
3rd and 7. Denver trying to prevent another 3 and out. 5 wide. Price over the middle. Complete down the middle to Quintero.
They needed that. They needed that badly. And that's Riley Quintero's 3rd reception and picks up the 1st down. And now Denver extends this drive and gets themselves out of, kind of a scary set of territory where, a turnover gives Fort Worth the ball right in, scoring opportunity. But now Denver keeps the ball and is in, a position where they can keep on driving.
Gonna have to get more yards. O'Shaughnessy running away from trouble, spins out of a tackle, slips out of another one. There's the big Bailey O'Shaughnessy run I was talking about into Fort Worth territory.
You said it. We asked for it and we received it. Bailey O'Shaughnessy picks up that pretty big gain right there, breaks a few tackles like we said he needed to, broke 1, 2, and then that 3rd tackle finally gets him down. But hey, it was a gain of multiple yards, and now they're in Fort Worth territory, in plus territory, and looking at 1st and 10.
And that's one of my favorite things about Bailey O'Shaughnessy. He definitely reminds me of a BDG Hollywood like back. Just improvise. He looked dead to rights in the backfield on that last play. Here's play action. Price down the seam. There's Quintero again. Inside the 21-yard line.
And Eric Price has been leaning on Riley Quintero, like you said. And that's another one on this drive that Quintero gets. And now it's the 4th reception for him. And really, Denver's putting together quite a little drive. And it's really been a mix of run and pass. Not so many passes to Bailey O'Shaughnessy, been more to the wide receiver. But Bailey O'Shaughnessy got that, pretty big gain.
Coming down to 2 minutes to go in the quarter. A handoff, Bailey O'Shaughnessy. He's going to be roughed up after a gain of 8. Delaney Nash was there to make the tackle. But Denver now seems to have their mojo back on offense as they approach the 13-yard line. And now they're in the red zone again. 3 field goals on 3 appearances. They got to punch it in. Can they do it this time? On 2nd down and 2. Under center is Eric Price. He's going to hand to O'Shaughnessy. O'Shaughnessy escapes the tackle in the backfield and falls forward for a 1st and goal at the 7.
The 20-yard run for O'Shaughnessy and then the 20-yard reception for Quintero really set up this, couple plays in this sequence that O'Shaughnessy's just been able to really kind of gash Fort Worth's defense and been able to pick up, 8 on that previous play and then a few more on that last play. So they've been able to string this drive together.
That's O'Shaughnessy on the dive. Nowhere to go, 2nd down at 7. Nice stop in the middle by Bowden.
That was like you said, that was a good stop by Fort Worth because I like to think that was more of kind of a probing run by Bailey O'Shaughnessy and Denver instead of necessarily trying to hit a home run.
Throwing to the goal line, touchdown, Denver, Jeremy Mosley. Throw it to the tight end for the touchdown, and the Nightwings, despite being down most of the game, have the lead with a minute to go in the 3rd.
And that's 2 receptions and 1 touchdown for Jeremy Mosley. So we have seen both these teams go to the tight ends, and it's the first touchdown to a tight end of the day, whereas we thought maybe Robert Garrett Jr. would have got the first touchdown for a tight end, but now it's Jeremy Mosley with 1.
Mosley, the 4th season veteran, has spent all 4 of those seasons here in Denver. That is his 5th receiving touchdown of the season, giving him the team lead in receiving touchdowns. And tied with Bailey, that's false because O'Shaughnessy has 2 receiving touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns. So he does now have the most receiving touchdowns for Mosley. And that's only with 340 yards receiving, which is much less than Logan Keel has, or Bryce Battle has, or Riley Quintero has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the efficient, red zone targets that, springs for touchdowns.
From kind of out of nowhere, Denver has the lead a big drive and the first touchdown of the game for the Nightwings. And now Fort Worth back on offense, minute to go in the third. Do you just do what you've been doing here? I think you do for Fort Worth. You don't have to change much.
100%, because it's gotten you where you're at in the ball game. So why switch it up to something that hasn't worked so far for you this season?
Although Cameron Curtis was heating up towards the end of that last drive, he'll throw it to Williams into the flat, and he is triple teamed and tackled after a gain of only 3.
I would think, you stick to your game plan and try to run it as much as possible, because you don't want to leave Denver any time to really be able to operate, because they are a dangerous offense, so they can get stuff going. But really, for Fort Worth, they have to kind of choke this clock out.
This could potentially be the last play of the third quarter. Handoff, Williams, nowhere to go. Hugo Reynosa up the middle and a big tackle, and it's Reynosa and Troyer have been the difference on the defensive line.
They've been making plays all day for Denver, and Denver has needed it because this rushing attack by Jason Williams is very stingy.
Side-on throw on 3rd and 12. Going to get close to a first down to Cade Stevens. Not enough, though. So Denver forces a 3-and-out, and it looks like the Nightwings have the momentum right there here at the end of the third quarter.
You said it, and now looks like Denver's going to get that ball back and can really try to close this ball game out.
Fort Worth will punt when we come back down 3. 11 minutes to go. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on FTF. Final quarter on tap. I'm Michael Torello. Wade Phillips is with me. Declan O'Rourke on stats. Cameron Irvine is our producer. Denver going to get the ball back up 3. 11 minutes to go, and they're going to have decent field position off the punt by Einhorn. Quintero not much on the return. And they'll have it at their own 38-yard line. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and consistently refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Price, pressure from the backside, gets the pass away. Bailey O'Shaughnessy picks up the reception and gets 3 yards. So we know what the best case scenario for Fort Worth is here. Just a 3-and-out, get the ball back. What's the best case scenario for Denver on this drive?
I mean, you would think it'd be killing as much clock as you can while also getting, 7 instead of 3. That's what I would consider the biggest win.
Man coverage, and for the first time today, Fort Worth jumps off sides. Price hit as he throws the ball, goes into the dirt. But it will be a free 5 yards for Denver, and it'll set up a pretty easy second down and manageable.
That time it was a good job by Fort Worth Stevens. They get the penalty, but then doing enough to not let Denver hurt them on the free play. And it looks like Schmidt got the penalty, but then got the stop, so...
It'll be second down and short after the second Fort Worth penalty of the day. They did take a defensive holding back in the first quarter that set up the first Denver field goal to make it 3-0 Denver all the way back in the opening Denver drive of the game. O'Shaughnessy can't get away from Horrell, 3rd down and 3.
And so far, Fort Worth's defense has been doing what they need to do to at least force the 3rd down. And really, Denver... trying to reach in their bag of tricks and find something that gets them a first down. But so far, we haven't seen them be able to find something that gets them consistent first downs.
This is a huge play for the Fort Worth defense. 3rd and 3, and wide open is the fullback, R.E. Mills. I don't think there's a team in the league that uses the fullback as a passing weapon better than the Denver Nightwings do, especially on the edge like that.
You said it, not only the passing game, but the running game. There have been a few times today that he's run the ball up the middle for, 8-9 yards, and that's, nearly every time he does it. So great job by utilizing the fullback to the best of their ability.
3 receptions, 34 yards on 11.3 yards per catch for R.E. Mills. And now here goes O'Shaughnessy. Stutter step in the middle of the field. Dives forward for a 13-yard first down.
And it looks like, Bailey O'Shaughnessy's past the century mark right there. So great job by the Denver offense to get Bailey O'Shaughnessy involved and get at least 100 yards. And now, if they can just keep this up, burn more and more clock to where Fort Worth has no chance, to where they have to either score and then get an onside and score again, Denver has to be able to put their foot on the gas and not leave any chance for Fort Worth.
Maximum of 3 for Denver right now. If you're Fort Worth, back shoulder throw, incomplete, too far behind the intended receiver, Logan Keel. 2nd and 10. Clock does stop, 9:14 to go. And it might shock some people that have just tuned in as to why we're talking about time left in the ballgame with 9:14 to go. These are two of the best teams at clock management through running the ball in the league. So that 9 minutes, 14 seconds will very likely quickly disappear.
Yes, we're thinking maybe 2 possessions for those 9 minutes.
Handoff middle, O'Shaughnessy, nothing doing. Excellent tackle right up the middle.
It has been a great job today. We've said it before for Fort Worth's linebackers, really plugging holes and getting stops and limiting Bailey O'Shaughnessy. Really, Bailey O'Shaughnessy only had a few plays where he's able to really sprung forward for multiple yards, but now it looks like empty backfield.
3rd down and 10. It's going to be on the arm of Price. He's going to be hit as he throws. Just throws the ball up for grabs. It's caught, but short of the line to gain. There was no time for that play to develop because the defensive line of Fort Worth was right in Eric Price's lap, and it was a miracle he got that pass away in the first place.
Yeah, you said it, because I thought for sure they'd get him down, but he gets the ball out, luckily, and they catch it, which even sets him up in even better position to kick that field goal.
This will be a 40-yarder from Matt Fennick to extend the lead. The right foot swings through the football, and it is good. And the lead is up to 6. Denver 19, Fort Worth 13. And now the Toros need a touchdown.
They do need a touchdown, but really, they need to run out the clock as much as they can and then get the touchdown, because you do not want to leave Denver's offense with, anywhere approaching substantial amounts of time.
8:05 to go. Cade Stevens back deep to receive. He's going to take it at the goal line. Let's see where Fort Worth will set up. It's going to be deep. It's going to be at their own 20. Excellent hit on special teams that time.
That was 2 kickoffs in a row for Denver that they stopped Fort Worth at the 20-yard line. So great job by the special teams unit to limit the return yards.
That was the tight end, Jim Copeland Jr. with a vicious hit. Get him playing linebacker.
Yeah.
Look out. Going the wrong way. Loss of 4. Nothing doing for Jason Williams.
Yeah, Marlon Marshall right there got in to the backfield and stopped him for a negative 4-yard play. So great job. We've called Marlon Marshall's a few times for being offsides, but that time, great job to get back there and get the tackle for loss.
2nd and 14, rifle over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Looked like Matt Papineau was the man to deflect it. And this is not the way that Fort Worth thought this drive was going to go. Immediately a 3rd and 14.
you said it. And now, because up until this drive, pretty much, Curtis was 6 of 10 since the 2-minute warning of the first half. So right now, not doing too great.
Curtis is going to go short. Hacker nowhere near the first down marker at the 22-yard line. 4th and 8, and I don't think you have enough. There's too much time on the clock to consider going for this. I think you have to punt it away and trust your defense.
I'm with you, because your defense has gotten you where you are today. So why not just trust your defense, get out there, get a stop, and then get back out there on offense.
Punt away from Einhorn, and Denver's going to have good field position up near the 48-yard line. Let's peel our minds away from this enthralling contest for 1 second to talk about next weekend on Next Level Sports. At the conclusion of today's doubleheader on For the Fans, the highly anticipated Week 12 broadcast schedule will be finalized as teams make their last push for the postseason. Week 12 action on Next Level Sports will be on Saturday, October 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, and on For the Fans, Sunday, October 10th, over the middle, first down for Denver. And Eric Price, despite throwing that interception on the first play from scrimmage to the second half, has rebounded very well and played an excellent half of football.
He has, and now looking at his stat line, looks like 31 attempts for 25 completions. So great job, 80.6 completion percentage. Has done a fantastic job, way better job than he did in that first drive of the second half, but now is very much setting them up to be able to get a win.
Here's O'Shaughnessy, nothing doing, off the left-hand side. So, Week 12 action, Next Level Sports, October 9th. That's next Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, and on For the Fans, Sunday, October 10th from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern. When will your team play next weekend? Stay tuned. You'll find out at the end of the broadcast. R.E. Mills powering forward, swarmed under by a host of gold jerseys led by David Horrell, and it's 3rd and 8.
He was able to break through the first tackle that got to him, but that time was swallowed up right after breaking through that initial would-be tackler, and only picked up 2 yards.
This is a huge play for the Fort Worth defense, trying to get Denver off the field. Price walks up to the line to change the play. 4 wide, 3 right, single left. Price forced to move in the pocket, across the middle, first down. Riley Quintero right down the seam, and that might be a backbreaker for Fort Worth, as Denver is now well into field goal range.
Yes, they are, and that time they caught him in zone defense and got right behind the zone in the soft spot, and were able to get right in the middle of the field, pick up that first down, and now Denver can kind of just do whatever they want and burn this clock out.
David Horrell caught in no man's land on that play as Quintero flew right by him. Price to the air again, rifles it underneath to Battle. And Battle picks up 5. Tick, 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 tick. Clock down under 5 minutes.
And you would think they would just, use as much clock as they can, get that play clock deep into the, single digits. That way, getting as much clock off the board as they can.
Denver inching closer to keeping their slim playoff hopes alive. They would be 4 and 7 if they were to hang on. Bailey O'Shaughnessy moving the chains again down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
And now it looks like they're going to wind that clock inside 3 minutes. So Denver doing their job and getting even closer to getting another victory on the board.
Bring the play clock down to 10 seconds and snap it O'Shaughnessy hit hard, no gain by Aiden Davis. So the winner of this game will move to 4-7. Their playoff chances slim but still alive. If next week any team with 6 losses picks up a victory, every 7-loss team will be eliminated. So they need a lot of help. They need to win this game and next game too. Handoff. O'Shaughnessy wrapped up and dropped, couldn't get away from Horrell. 3rd down and goal, but I don't think that's really the point. Denver would be happy with 3 here, as it would make it a 2-possession game.
Absolutely. They're playing to their game plan extremely well. And like you mentioned earlier on, both of these ball clubs do an excellent job of clock management. So Denver already doing a great job in winding this clock down and not leaving Fort Worth any room to work with.
Nightwings look like they're going to go to the air. They're going to go for the throat. Play action to the goal line. Ari Mills couldn't haul it in. He probably would have been short anyway. It's 4th down and goal. And the key to that is the clock stops. So I'm not sure why you don't, I guess the 2-minute warning, but still, I don't see a reason why not to just run the ball. If you don't get into the end zone, take it down to close to the 2-minute warning and kick a field goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, because then you leave Fort Worth with, theoretically, 2 minutes and 40 seconds to work with, which they can, get those big plays if it, and that just leaves Denver up by just a few.
Denver now up by 9. So it's a 2-possession game. The Nightwings, all they got to do is hold 1 out of 2 times the last 2 minutes and 39 seconds, and they will eliminate Fort Worth from playoff contention and keep their hopes alive. And Wade, it felt to me, even though the scores were close a lot of the time, that Fort Worth dominated most of the opening 3 quarters, and then Denver just turned it on in this past quarter and a half and have outpaced Fort Worth in most of the second half here. But remember, Fort Worth went up, 13-6. Eventually it was 10-6, then 10-9 at the break, but it always felt like the Toros had the momentum. Then they got the interception, first play of the second half. Here's Curtis over the middle, incomplete. And that interception almost felt like it turned the momentum the other way. It galvanized the Denver defense, and that in turn inspired their offense.
Yeah, you're right, because they, like you said, they won the first half, but then Denver came out with a plan, but they get the turnover that first drive, but then, like you said, galvanized the defense, and then the defense is basically pitching a near shutout in the second half, whereas Fort Worth has just not been able to get something going on offense. They've gotten a few things here and there, but not to the same standard that they had in that first half.
Yeah, the only points that Fort Worth have in this second half is a field goal off a short field because of that interception by Adam Leach early in the second half.
Yeah, and Denver has been playing much better than they did in that first half. They really found their kind of voice in the second half and have been able to really establish what they want and are showing the lead because of it.
Nice pitch out to Stevens. First down and out of bounds. Clock stops.
Fort Worth is doing what they need to keep this clock from winding down, because they've been able to get that first down, and only about 20 seconds have come off the clock since Denver gave the ball back to Fort Worth.
Cameron Curtis trying to throw his team back into it with 2:22 to go. Dan to the pocket, fires over the middle, incomplete, knocked away by Papineau.
Right there, it looked like Stephen Hacker might have worked his way open, but unfortunately Cameron Curtis tried to target the other receiver and just couldn't quite get that completion. But it looked like Stephen Hacker had a little curl route and established himself open, but just unfortunately, Cameron Curtis couldn't find him.
The Toros have been doing decent with clock management. Curtis forced to scramble, and down he goes. And that should take us to the 2-minute warning as Fort Worth is struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 18 after an 8-yard loss. Low snap, pass knocked away. And we hit the 2-minute warning. Fort Worth facing a 4th and 18, and it's all gone pear-shaped for the Toros. This is the Simulation Football League on FTF. Fourth and 18, Fort Worth got to go for it here, trailing by 2 scores with 2 minutes to go. Curtis skips out of a tackle, guys to take off and run. He's going to be nowhere close to the first down. Tackled well short. And it's going to be a turnover on downs. Raska Santagria applied the coup de grace, and it's Fort Worth ball. Excuse me, and it's Denver ball.
And now you would assume Denver's just going to kind of run this clock out. Granted, Fort Worth has multiple timeouts, full roster of them, 3 of them. Both teams do, but yeah, you would think Denver's just going to try to run it out. If they get that first down after a timeout, it's ball game. But now they're going to do what they can to run this clock out.
O'Shaughnessy, not a lot on a stretch play. Fort Worth calls their first timeout. And I expect 3 in quick succession, and if Denver pulls out a first down, I think that's the ball game.
Yep, I'm with you. Because so far it's been, Denver has done enough to be ahead, and if they can just get that this last first down, that's all they need. If they can get it, it looks like they will get the victory.
Well, R.E. Mills can't get it that time. Second timeout for Fort Worth. It's been a fantastic weekend of action here in the SFL. Taking a look at some final scores from around the league. Florida won 35-28. Sioux Falls beat Houston 31-28. Mexico City on top of Arizona 20-6. St. Louis beat Louisiana 28-20 in a battle of 2 former teams quarterbacked by Johnny Pickler. Las Vegas beat Lone Star 27-13. Here goes O'Shaughnessy short of the first down. So Fort Worth does hold, uses all 3 timeouts, and we get the ball back with 1:42 to go. LA and Vancouver, what a slugfest in a razor-thin Pacific Division. Vancouver coming out on top 45-36.
Yeah, I called that one.
Yeah, Baltimore in another tight matchup clinched the North Division 30-21 over Queen City. That is, in my opinion, a preview of the championship game, Queen City and Baltimore.
100% with you.
Matt Fennick going to try a 50-yard field goal attempt to make this one a 12-point lead, and he does. And that should be the nail in the coffin, as Denver has ridden mostly Matt Fennick's leg to victory in a key matchup towards the end of the season.
Yeah, you said it. Matt Fennick has been the one consistent today, and really has been their most consistent player and getting them the lion's share of their points today.
Jack Brown, the hero, as Carolina falls out of playoff contention with a 13-6 loss to Charleston. And earlier today, Atlanta on top of Baltimore, on top of Portland. Atlanta on top of Baltimore. That would have been a story. Atlanta on top of Portland, 31-14. Couple of standout matchups in there, Wade. What is your game of the weekend? Because I think I know mine.
Mine, personally, was the Vancouver-LA game. I got to see that up close, and it was just an absolute shootout. There were 10 interceptions in the ball game, but both teams really staying in the game and eventually getting the win. So, yeah, it was a great game to watch. And just
look out. Here goes Cameron Curtis scrambling. He slides down past the 40. Second time he's been forced to scramble in consecutive offensive plays for Fort Worth. Clock stops, or clock runs, sorry, minute 20 to go. Fort Worth doesn't have a timeout. Curtis quick slant over the middle. That pass is caught rumbling down past the 50, down to the Denver 43-yard line. Robert Garrett Jr. And one more score I should mention. Deep into the fourth quarter, Tulsa on top of San Diego 23-7. Pushed out of bounds to the 33-yard line is Cade Stevens by Santagria. Clock stops with a minute to go.
And that's what Fort Worth needed. They needed to get at least, close to the first down and get out of bounds. They did that, and now they've got a minute to try to score, get an onside kick, and then score again.
Second down and less than 1. The yardage really doesn't matter. And Hacker can't hang on to the ball as he's wrestled to the ground by the defender. That was, I believe, Rosca Santagria. And it is third down. Next week, Denver. The final week of the season, they have a bird battle with the Sioux Falls Sparrows. They win that one. They have a slim playoff chance. As I mentioned, they need every other team that is 5-6 to fall. Middle caught Garrett Jr. First down to the 21.
That time it was more of the same for Robert Garrett Jr. Gets another first down. Oh, hey.
Quick spike stops the clock, 43 seconds to go.
Robert Garrett Jr. in getting much closer to the century mark, and really, unfortunately, it might just be in a losing effort, but still, you got to say, really great job by the tight end today.
Fort Worth will end their season with the Dallas-Fort Worth area rivalry against the Lone Star Glory. 7-yard pickup on second down for Stevens. Once again, the clock stops with 40 seconds to go.
And they need another first down to at least extend this drive because they are out of timeouts. They cannot get tackled in bounds because that hurts them dearly.
They are going to pick up the first down. Little curl route coming back to the football, but tackled in bounds is Cade Stevens. Clock runs down under 30 seconds to go, and another spike.
Some great clock management to get that spike and just give your offense a chance to really talk it out and come up with a plan instead of just doing the no huddle thing where you're just kind of all in flux and everybody's going every way and you don't really have a solid plan.
Curtis to the corner, tackled in bounds. I believe that was Robert Garrett Jr., or no, that was Stephen Hacker on the outside. Hacker again makes the catch, but he falls the wrong direction out of bounds with 12 seconds to go.
So now Fort Worth's basically life is on the line with, only 12 seconds left to go. They have a chance to maybe put some points, but hey, it's 4th and goal on the 2, so they have to get something that puts them in pay dirt.
I mean, they basically got to score now and then hope that you get the onside kick and have one chance to throw a bomb to the end zone. Curtis pumps, scrambles, touchdown Fort Worth. Third scramble of the game for Cameron Curtis, and he walks into the end zone for a rushing touchdown. And Fort Worth is within 6. It's 25-19 pending the extra point.
And now it's going to take something that does not happen very often, and that is, get the onside kick and then just absolute magic happen and get a long pass to get a touchdown. So it'll be, breathtaking stuff.
Taco Sicario on for the extra point. It is up. It is good. 5-point lead for Denver. 9 seconds to go, and the ball game hinges on this onside kick attempt by Fort Worth.
You know, it's not his fault because that was a long kick that he had to make. But you just imagine if Taco would have made that long field goal and where how different this game would have been.
They would have been down 2 instead of 5. Not sure how much difference it would have made in the long term because Denver's going to win the ball game. The onside kick is picked up easily by Jared Battle, and that will do it. And all it will take is one kneel down, and Denver is going to move to 4-7. Fort Worth drops to 3-8. One kneel down is all it takes. Denver wins it, and that'll do it. Your final from Denver, Colorado. Nightwings 25, Fort Worth Toros 20. Post-game stats and highlights scrolling across your screen, and here's Wade Phillips to tell you about it.
Yeah, today we saw a battle that Fort Worth won in the first half, but then in the second half, Denver came out, kind of disastrous that first drive of the second half to get the turnover, but really it was how they closed it out that really got them the victory. They were able to really hold Fort Worth to a touchdown and a field goal in the second half that was able to secure them victory.
And it was a big game down the stretch from Eric Price. He did well in the second half. After that turnover, recovered well, threw receivers open, had a couple of big completions down the middle. Riley Quintero was huge down the stretch for the Nightwings as well. Bailey O'Shaughnessy, a couple of 20-plus yard runs to keep moving the chains. And one of the big things I want to talk about is Denver and penalties. They had 4 in the first half, 3 on one drive, which allowed the Toros to score one of their only 2 touchdowns of the game. And then after that, Denver went penaltyless in the second half, and it was Fort Worth that actually had a couple of costly penalties towards the end of the ball game.
Absolutely right. And it was, you said it, the team that did the least to, shoot themselves in the foot. And that time today, ultimately, it was Denver, where, they were doing it the most in the first half, where it got them behind in this game. But then Fort Worth was able to not take advantage of that touchdown really to the full extent. And Denver was able to play error-free football relatively in that second half and got the victory.
All right, Wade, it's just about that time for player of the game. Who you got?
Bailey O'Shaughnessy.
Bailey O'Shaughnessy. I'm going with Matt Fennick. 6 of 6.
Hey!
18 points for Matt Fennick. Longest field goal, 51 yards. And the kicker takes home player of the game. That'll do it for us in the booth. My name is Michael Turillo. Wade Phillips was alongside me. Declan O'Rourke was on stats. Kevin Irvine provided the backroom statistics that we all needed to keep the broadcast going. Thank you so much. We will see you next week for Week 12 when the regular season wraps up.